So there are 80,000 people of Somali descent in your state, but the president has been very focused, not just on them, but on you. In this extraordinary cabinet meeting, he said Somalis, quote, come from hell. They complain and they do nothing but bitch. Take a listen.
These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. We don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much.
That knocking is vehement agreement from his cabinet members there. I just wonder what the reaction is in your district to have that from the highest office in the land.
It's disgusting. It's completely disgusting. These are Americans that he is calling garbage. And we feel like there is an unhealthy obsession that he has on the Somali community, and an unhealthy and creepy obsession that he has with me. I think it is also really important for us to remember that this kind of hateful rhetoric and this level of dehumanizing can lead to dangerous actions by people who listen to the president.
And 95% of the Somalis in your state are U.S. citizens.
Yes.
Just for clarity there.
If in my lifetime I am given the opportunity ILHAN Omar has gotten from America, I will serve that country with my life. I will defend America with my soul, with my blood, with the blood of my generation. To be honest, ILHAN Omar is a Somalian who came into America via refugee, from a Kenyan refugee camp, right? When she was 12, she went through all the hurdles, and here she is now in the spotlight, representing Somalians at, up there. She's now politically representing her people. Her story is really inspiring. But that's the truth. But here's what I have to say. America gave her everything. And under her nose, her people have been perpetuating a whole lot of big fraud. And allegedly, it's beginning to look like she's even aware of it. It's not like she's not aware of it, right? But she's trying to hide it. And now she's going on the whole media, whatever. After Trump has said that a whole lot of them will be, to their country. If I was her, I would just keep her. I won't go for any of this interview, knowing fully well that my people are guilty of what they said they did. But this one kept going everywhere, talking, and she has so many controversies. Let's watch these videos. Anyways, I'll be back. Watch these videos.
ILHAN Omar knows what caused all the fraud. On CNN, Jake Tapper asked ILHAN Omar if she could shed any light on why the fraud was so out of control in Minnesota. Here's Omar's reply.
I think what happened is that, when you have these kind of new programs that are designed to help people, you're oftentimes relying on third parties to be able to facilitate. And I just think that a lot of the COVID programs that were set up, they were set up so quickly that a lot of the guardrails did not get created.
The guardrails didn't get created. Yes, if we only had laws against stealing, theft, and fraud. They're pretty important. They're right up there with brothers and sisters not getting married.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Operation Metro Surge is underway. ILHAN Omar, Tim Walz, and they didn't get the news they wanted. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. Democrats want you to think that this operation in Minnesota is about racism against Somalian people. It's not what it's about. It's about catching the bad guys. But for some reason, ILHAN Omar doesn't want you to catch the bad guys. And, well, if you look at the trail of fraudulent money, You might find out why Ilhan Omar doesn't want you to catch the bad guys. You might find out why Tim Walz doesn't want you to catch the bad guys. But this weekend, there was some massive arrests using Operation Metro Surge in the Minnesota area. A lot of them were Somalis. Some of them were U.S. citizens. All of them were hardened criminals who committed horrible, atrocious acts that I'm not even allowed to talk about here. They've all been arrested. And while Omar and Walz are still complaining about racism, the people of Minnesota are just a little bit safer today. And what they should be doing, Walz and Omar, is commending this administration and offering to help to bring these criminals to justice. Not be like Mayor Jacob Fry and go eat some Somalian food in some show of solidarity and look like you're about to pass out. That's not a good look, Jacob. I want you to watch this and let me know what you think in the comments.
New York City newsroom with the breaking information on this. Chandler, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Trey. So tonight, DHS announcing continued arrest as part of Operation Metro Surge, targeting what ICE calls some of the worst criminal illegal aliens in the Minneapolis area.
ICE has already made dozens and dozens of arrests, including a convicted murderer, convicted gang members who have just been released back onto Minneapolis' streets to terrorize their people.
The Trump administration is also cracking down on massive fraud schemes in Minnesota, calling it a, quote, hub of money laundering activity. Congress and multiple federal agencies are now probing what federal prosecutors are calling the largest pandemic fraud scheme in the country. So far, more than 50 people have been convicted with nearly 80 others charged, and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is under fire.
We've acknowledged that this is serious, needs to stop. It is stopping. People are continuing to go to prison. I think the good news for Minnesotans to know when that 90-day pause is over and the third-party audits are done, we will have a better picture than we've ever had, which I think is really good.
Prosecutors say the amount of fraud involved in these schemes is already over $1 billion in the state. But whistleblowers there say after all of the investigations, that total could rise to more than $8 billion.
Either the Walz administration is incredibly incompetent or they're complicit. At this point, I don't see how you see it any other way.
And Governor Walz insists his administration never ignored reports of possible fraud and is taking steps to keep it from happening again, Trace. And as we just heard at the top of the hour, Attorney General Pam Bondi says many more arrests are coming soon.
Yep. Bad day for ILHAN Omar, y'all. This is the CBS interview where it just collapsed in real time. Viewers watched a legacy news host panic when she realized the facts lined up with Trump and not Omar. The Minnesota fraud scandal is no longer a fringe headline. It is a growing criminal investigation tied to billions of taxpayer dollars, a Somali network of suspects and political leaders who spent years denying anything was wrong. These people are crazy, y'all. The interview exposed her. ILHAN Omar was asked why the fraud exploded in her district. She avoided the question and shifted to talking points about Somali taxpayers being upset. The host sat in stunned silence because the answer made no sense. It dodged responsibility. It signaled fear. It exposed how deep this corruption really goes. Then CBS pressed her on the numbers. Nearly every charged suspect is Somali. That's more than 80 people. Only a handful are not. ILHAN Omar pointed to a single white woman involved, ignoring the rest. Viewers saw the deflection. They saw the pattern. They saw why federal investigators are now tracing overseas transfers linked to Somalia and the Middle East. The host brought up assimilation, and ILHAN Omar responded by calling critics Nazis, which of course she did. That was the moment when the interview died. It showed a politician concerned by facts. It showed a political movement collapsing under its own propaganda. Trump warned about this years ago. CBS tried to frame him as an extremist. Now their own reporting proves his point. The federal swamp in Minneapolis is real. The money trail is real. The political panic is real. And this interview proves the old media fortress is cracking. The truth is catching up. The country is shifting. Democrats are losing control of the narrative. And Trump's warning about corruption, immigration, and accountability are landing harder than ever. Y'all like the video right there. Follow for more. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll catch you on the next one.
Let me tell you about somebody who overreached themselves. ILHAN Omar, right? She thought she was a big fish, in the Democratic Party, but the Democratic Party lost. And she found out who the real big fish is. Trump. Now, they have gone into her entire history and what is happening with her corrupt people. ILHAN Omar has been accused of student loan fraud, campaign fraud abuse nationwide, not just in her city, but nationwide. They called her a serial career criminal. So I guess she really is representative of her community, right? The Somalis in Minnesota. She's been accused of tax fraud, immigration fraud, and bigamy. I think they're working up a case to throw this broad out of here.
Has ILHAN Omar forgotten her naturalization oath of allegiance that she took when she first became a citizen? It would absolutely seem that way, as she declared loyalty to Somalia. If American citizens support Israel, she says you've got divided loyalty. But she can pledge her loyalty to Somalia while working in the government. Omar went on to say, while I'm in Congress, no one will take Somalia's seats. She sees her job in Congress as representing for the Somalian people and doing what's best for their country. She has forgotten that it is her job to look after American interests. Omar and her family were granted refugee status in 1995. In 2000, she was granted her naturalization, where she took the oath to become an American citizen. But it seems she has forgotten everything she said in that oath. These, of course, are just my opinions, but I want to know yours. Let me know in the comments below. Respectfully, please. God bless each of you.
Look, I don't much get into politics because they all phony, they all corrupt, they all fake. But what I will say is, with all this buzz is going around about Minnesota and ILHAN Omar and her not having any real loyalty to America and whatever. I guess what I don't understand is why, if you're a woman that's from a country that does not appreciate womanhood at all, you have no rights there as a woman, you have no power as a woman, you cannot ever hold any sort of political any type of political position within the nation that you're from. Why would you not have more appreciation for America? Like, you're given the opportunity here. You were given the opportunity to become in power, to have a political position. You were given the opportunity to be voted into office after being in debt. What, $50,000 in debt, and then now you're a multimillionaire. Like, what other country can you go to and get an opportunity like that? You damn sure can't go to yours and get like that. And I'm not trying to slight nobody, you know. I'm really not trying to get into this political debate shit. I really don't want to get into this. I don't want to get political. But my thing is, if you a woman and you from a country where you are not appreciated, you are not loved, you are not valued unless you got a baby in your stomach, I would think that you might have more appreciation for the country that's actually giving you an opportunity to live a thriving and fruitful life as a human being and not as a baby making incubator. That's all I'm saying.
Welcome back. Like I was saying, she has so many controversies. And here she is supporting her own country, a country that could never give her any kind of opportunity like this. You understand how the Islamic country works. No opportunity for women. Here she is in America at the rep. In fact, her people are now saying, ILHAN for president, ILHAN for president, ILHAN Omar for president, and all of that. Probably it has gotten to her head and she's really becoming really. Anyways, we'll see what's up. But according to what I'm seeing, she stands to risk her citizenship. She will be denaturalized with what I'm seeing if she's found guilty. Because, trust me, she won't succeed. Then, anyway, we are watching. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments. This woman, do you think she's innocent? Do you think she doesn't know anything about those monies? Do you think she doesn't know anything about it? Let me hear it in the comments. Right? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments. I want her to be sent back to her country. Period.